And we are live. What's going on, comic friends? Welcome to the channel. It's Ryan the Colossus Collector, and I'm joined by my two YouTube comic friends, Brandon from M.O.N Comics. What's up, Brandon?
What's up, Ryan? Great to be here.
Thanks for coming. And Mr. Akins from What's on the Comic Rack. What's going on?
Hello, everybody.
Really happy you guys could join me tonight for my first live stream. So big milestone for the Colossus Collector channel. And I gotta say, before we get into chatting, I really appreciate both of you and the support you've given me and my channel and all the great back and forth in the comments, all that stuff, the shout outs. Really appreciate it. I thought, definitely needed to get you guys on as some of my first guests on the channel. So really appreciate you guys.
I know how comments mean a lot to some people. And a lot of times that's the reason we're here. We're looking for somebody to interact with. And once you put this video out there, you're looking for somebody to interact with. And I'm happy to interact with you. I try to comment on as many people's stuff as I possibly can. There's only so much time, especially if you're making content, to watch content as well. But I try my best to watch everybody's stuff and make some kind of comment on there about what they've got and what they're showing us, because they take time out to make that video.
It's super appreciative. And I'm sure every channel host appreciates that, because I mean, that's what helps the channel grow. And speaking of first guests to my channel, there's my buddy Dan from Dan's X-Men Comics. He was my very first guest, but we didn't go live. It was my first non-live guest. Thanks for jumping on, Dan.
What's up, Dan?
What's up?
Dan and I go back since I first got into comics. He was like one of the first people I connected with on Instagram. So really good guy. And of course we have X-Men in common. So
I see that. Yeah, your channel, you were easy, Ryan. I just found you one day, and your video, you were really good. Your books were beautiful. You were natural in front of the camera. It's easy to watch and get sucked in. Like, it's great. All the people that I found being, Akins recommended all sorts of words, and Ricky. And
yeah, I think, I don't know if it was you or it was one of you that I got connected and subscribed to him. But yeah, he's definitely got the gift of gab on screen. He's got a nice channel coming on along.
Yeah, you're great too, though, and
I appreciate it.
And your videos, your editing, the Matrix, talking about AI was just like, I was sitting there watching it, and I'm like, I am woefully horrible at technology.
So that was that was kind of a weird point in my channel where I was like, okay, I've done lots of unboxings and hauls and stuff. I was like trying to think of ideas to like branch out a little bit, and that one seemed like a fun idea, and it's like one of my lowest viewed videos on my channel, and I poured probably the most effort into that one than anything. So it's kind of like a hidden gem. Maybe one day somebody will find it and like they'll talk about it, and then it'll go gangbusters on views. But it was definitely a fun one to put together.
I was talking with somebody else about that. Dave from Comic Book Investments was saying the exact same thing. He just sitting there showing comics, but then he does these things where it's a mini documentary, and he does all the he hires somebody to write the script, and he talks out the script and has all these all the editing. He says, I put so much time and effort in this, and then it gets, a few views. And then I just go in one afternoon and slap some comics down, and, I'm getting all these views. So
I know.
You putting forth a lot of effort. And the same thing with me. I'll put out something I think is great, or a short or something, and I'm like, this is really good, and it doesn't get nearly as much views as, I better hurry up and do a short. Let me find 3 books and a song that goes with it, and all of a sudden it gets 1,000 views. It's weird.
Ditto.
Yeah,
ditto.
Yeah, I've had the same sort of thing with shorts, right? Like just kind of random. Some pop off, I get 1,000 views, and then others like 50, 40, 60,
48. Yeah.
Like, what am I doing here? Like, I don't know. And I've looked into like the little, like you should put captions on it and like things like that tips that make it go, and I do it, and it's like nothing. But then I do like I do like a Colossus, or I used a clip from the X-Men cartoon on one, and it went just gangbusters. Like, all right,
that,
well,
yeah.
people like the '90s cartoon, so that makes sense, you know. Yeah, it's funny. I'm sure there is a secret sauce to it, but I haven't figured out the recipe.
Most of mine that I've noticed that if I do, I've kind of gone down the list and I go, okay, I'm going to do something I think is going to be popular, and then I'm going to do something I know that's not going to be popular. And if it's something that's in somebody's psyche or in the news right now or something that's hot right now, those things seem to pop off a little bit better than others, but it matters on whether or not somebody's interested in that. My Spider-Man 2099, I basically went through my entire collection and put 3 at a time using the same music. Those get a lot more than me doing a one where I've got 4 comics and I say, which one of these is a key? You know, where they're trying to get people to maybe look at it more than once. And it seems to be, if it's something popular at the moment,
Yep.
It'll pop up a little bit more, or a song that's popular. I find that if you put a Taylor Swift song in there, you're probably going to get some views just because you put hashtag Taylor Swift in.
Well, yeah, that's probably what it is, right? Because you can't really hear it until you get on there. But yeah, I'm sure hashtag Taylor Swift is a good ploy to get some views.
Now I'm trying to think of like stuff that's in the zeitgeist of like,
yeah,
hashtag UFO. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you speaking of cartoons, because you mentioned the X-Men, have you watched Mr. Aiken's recent shout out? What's that gentleman's name?
Harry Bauer. Have you gone to Harry Bauer's channel?
No, I haven't.
You will absolutely love it. It is the best. It's the best audio comics. He's basically taken John Byrne's work. He's retooled it to where it doesn't have any word balloons anymore. Does some static animation in it, and he's a director and an actor, and he uses other they're actors, but they're also voice actors to voice what the characters are saying.
And they are.
Oh
yes.
Yeah, I think I might have watched one. I don't know if it was him or not, but I'll have to go back and see, because I did see one recently. I was like, that was pretty good.
He started with Fantastic Four number 251, and he's up to 259 or 258? I think it's 259, where the Fantastic Four and Alpha Flight, the two merge, where it was Master of the World, where it's Alpha Flight number 2 and number 3, and then Namor and then at the time the Invisible Girl come in to the story. So he did it was like a 47-minute long one, because he basically retold Alpha Flight number 2, Alpha Flight number 3, and then went into Fantastic Four number 258. It was really, really good.
Yeah, I'll so what was it again?
Harry Bauer. If you go to my channel, I've got a shout out, and you can click.
Yeah, I'll definitely look that up.
So, but yeah, I'm glad somebody else like I was like, it got me so fired up about wanting to read those comics again. But it was like the first time I'd ever read those, and I've read those 1,000 times. And when somebody says, "Oh, they don't do a good Fantastic Four movie," well, then go watch one of these, because these things are awesome.
I can't even fathom how much time it must take for him to do this and get the voice actors to record and edit. I mean, whoever voices the Thing is like who I would want to hear if I close my eyes in the movie. And just a heads up, Brian, for your first stream, bring a notebook and a pen, because so many people are going to mention stuff that you're going to want to read or put on your wish list. Like last time during my stream, I was like, "Oh, this is great."
I got to write notes on my phone. I didn't bring a pad.
This is great stuff.
Harry Bauer also did so much detail. Marina, remember, she was in Newfoundland, and he researched a Newfoundland accent, which is supposed to be kind of an offshoot of an Irish accent.
As a Canadian, I can speak to a Newfoundland accent. It's interesting. And I'm not going to try one because it's hard.
So he got the voice actress that he got to do Marina did a soft Irish accent. And once that was going, I was like, now when I read Alpha Flight comics and I read Marina's dialogue, that's what I'm now hearing in my head
That's
is
cool.
her doing that. So yeah, it is. He's really cool. He does amazing work.
It's funny how that happens, right? Like you see something, and then like if you see that same character in another form or whatever, that's the kind of thing that just sits in your head. Like whenever I read Wolverine, I hear the -- Wolverine guy, right? Like
Exactly.
I'm actually like, it's funny you bring that up. Like I have a I'm it'll be one of my most soon to come videos. Is I'm gonna do a series. There's this mini series coming out called Days of Future Past Doomsday, and they're telling the story of from the X-Men Days of Future Past, how that future came about. So they're filling in the history
Okay.
over 4 issues of like where the present during that story to that apocalyptic future, and they're telling the story of how that future came about. And I have the first issue that just came out, and it's really really good. And so I'm gonna do that basically. I don't know if I'm gonna do all the voices. I haven't quite committed to the acting yet, but I'm gonna do basically like a read through of all those comics as they come out on my channel, just because it's just such a cool story. And I don't really read a lot of modern stuff, but this has such a important connection to my favorite run in comics, right? So
yeah. See, Brandon, I'm writing something down now. He's giving me something to go look for and start reading.
well look out
That's
for the
awful.
channel. You could just watch it on my channel. Plug.
I have no, yeah, I mean, now it's so many people, I'm sure for the both of you, a notification will pop up and you're like, well, I got to watch, like, I think I said on the stream the other night, maybe Aikens, I don't watch TV anymore.
I don't
I,
either.
I really don't need to, like, unless it's with my kids, of course, I'm trying to calm them down, then it's like, PJ Masks and as much superhero stuff as I can get. I'm like, want Spider-Man? Want baby Spider-Man?
Yeah.
But I really don't, it's there's so many great content creators within our community and that we've met and interact with. It's nuts. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's a great idea.
Yes.
I want to see that. I'm interested to see everything leading up to that, because there's got to be a lot of mutants that get killed off in that time, right?
It's brutal, man. That first episode, like, oh man, it got me like right here already. And it was like, I'm not going to spoil it, but it was like, holy cow, that's brutal. Yeah. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good. Oh, we got Alex the Comic Hoarder
Really
in the house.
Whoa, listening from the gym, Alex, my grandfather channel.
Thanks for listening, watching, Alex. Glad
Alex, the whole reason I started a YouTube channel, because he put out that, your top 5 in your collection. And I said, and he encouraged people to make a video. And I was like, well, I can make a video. And that's pretty much how it all started.
Yeah, those challenges are great. I do think it's just really fun, and it helps. And I mean, I know you're a big fan of Alan's weekly challenges too. It helps you give ideas for content and stuff like that. I think all that's really great and always gives you a nice opportunity to do a fun video. And people love like top 10, top 5 things. Like those are always really makes people want to watch them, right?
Yeah, those seem to pop off better because as soon as you see that top 10, I want to see what the top 10 are. Exactly. Those pop off a little bit better. And I like you said, it gives me something else to put on there for content. And plus, if I do all my filming pretty much Saturday morning. Saturday morning is or Sunday morning. And then that's it. That's my filming is done. I put it all and schedule it during the week. And I try to do something extra so that I've got something in the can. So if something comes up on Saturday, I've got something else to put in there. So I've got a couple things that are in the can because I usually am able to find the comics Alan at the Comic Collector Geek is wanting me to find. So that gives me a little something to put out there, but still have something in reserve when, okay, I can't. Because what that pool challenge, I sat there for 3 hours looking for comics that had a pool, and I only found one, West Coast Avengers Limited Series #1. I mean, not #1, but #4, where Graviton has Wonder Man up under the pool, trying to drown him. And on the cover, he's coming out of the pool. That's the only one I've got. I was like, I can't find anything, but I don't own any. If you had an Archie or something like that, then yeah, Betty and Veronica are always around the pool. But for a Bronze Age superhero, Copper Age, Modern Age, you're not going to see a bunch of pools.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's funny. It's funny when I was watching you guys on, or I don't know if you were on there, Miss Ricky. I know Brandon was, but on Biggie Shack's Collectors Fridays, doing the poker game thing, which was so fun. So the first one I saw was the one was Brandon's first one, and all the themes were coming up, and I'm like, oh man, I got a wicked book for that, and I got a book for that, I got a book for that. I was like, oh, I want to play this game so bad. And then I go on the following show, and like the first two are like, oh, this is not for my collection. Like one was like chrome covers, and which is all like modern stuff, and I had enough to do it, but like not enough to impress the panel, the esteemed panel. And then and then what was the other one? The other one was
skull covers.
Skull covers, yeah. And I'm like,
we don't have horror.
And I had to like over-index on Ghost Rider, and I don't think that impressed anybody. It's like, so I lost 2 rounds in a row, and I was out. And it was like, oh man, I would have killed it black covers or something like that, Like,
that's the second time I went on when you were on. That's when I got nervous, because I'm like, man, I skated by last time because I happen to have black covers. I happen to have, and then I got to call the monster category. Like if you win and you get to call the category, that's when you're sitting pretty. Otherwise, you're at the mercy of what's coming out. But that game is phenomenal. It makes you look at your collection again, and then talk about those books. And as you mentioned, even I sit here and I'm like thinking about like what I could use for the next battle. That's a great thing. It's fun.
Well, you're also playing against somebody like Alan, who has. When I always ask this question, I say, how many do you have in your collection? I've already asked, but I don't know how many Ryan has. But Alan has like between 30 and 40,000 comics in his collection.
I am nowhere near that.
How many do you have, Ryan?
Oh, I've never counted, but I only started last year. Like, and I have a lot for a year. Like
right. And you got some really good comics for only collecting for a year.
But yeah, no, Alan's on another level, and all the Golden Age. Like we did the picture frame theme that round, and he pulls out an actual book with picture frames on the frame. Like we were using like the Marvel frame, that era where like for a year they had all these frames. And then he pulls out this Golden Age book with actual picture frames on it, and we're like, well, that's it.
Yeah, they voted for him right away. That's a tough one. I did not like that category. It was not fun to me.
Yeah.
But it's a good curveball.
Yeah, no, it was. So shout out to Immortal Biggie Shack and the Collectors Club and
heck yeah,
all the videos.
Awesome.
Just want to say love that channel and love what he's doing. Also wanted to shout out YOLO Bro, who just said, what do you guys think of conventions? Ever go and get CGC signature series with any comic creators or pickup exclusives?
I've only been to 2 conventions, and one of them was in the early 90s. And I think I was talking with Brandon about this, that I didn't realize that certain comics could be, expensive. I was completely a reader. And so I had maybe 20 or 40 bucks. And so I'm going through and I'm finding the cheapest thing that I could possibly find, stuff that I may have liked. So I'm going through and I'm looking, Eternals. I love Jack Kirby. I don't have this run. This is 30 cents. This is 30 cents. This is 30 cents. So I bought the entire run for 30 cents. This is like in the early 90s. And then I'm like, I like Werewolf by Night. Let's go through there. 30 cents, 40 cents. And I get the one that's 10 cents. I get the one that's $10. And I'm like, I don't have enough for that. So guess which one that was? That was Werewolf by Night number 32. I could have picked that up for $10. But at that time, I was sitting there thinking, oh, that's too much money. That's going to break my bank. I wanted to get as many comics as I possibly could for the least amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
So I've only gone to 2. The last one that I tried to go to was Pensacon, which is close to where I live. And I waited too long and it sold out. And I didn't get a chance to go. But I would love to go to, I've only been to 2, so I would love to go to conventions. I think that's how I'm going to fill my Iron Man run at this point. Instead of buying stuff off of eBay or waiting on Whatnot or all these other things, I said, you know what? I'm just going to go to a convention, take some, a couple $100 and go and see what they've got and fill in my run that way next time. But that's my convention story.
Well, you got to see conventions before they're really what they are now, right? So that's kind of a cool perspective.
Well, the 2 things that were there were comic books and gaming. Those 2 things were in the same building, and that's kind of what I was going, because I was into D&D, of course. So I was going for the gaming stuff, and we got some comics over here. Let's see what kind of comics I could, I can pick up. How many can I get for $40? Was my goal at that time, was what I could pick up, and that's it. That's all that was there. Picking up exclusives. I have picked up one exclusive, that Action Comics 1053 with the Power Girl on it. I could probably go and get it. I bought that one off of eBay. I didn't get that at a con. I think that was a con exclusive.
I think so.
I bought it off of eBay just because that cover was just amazing. I thought it was Alex Ross cover, and I bought that one. I'm trying to think of what else he asked. He said, what do you think about conventions? Have you bought any?
Have you been to conventions?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just and it was if you've done any CGC Signature Series signings, which are more of a new thing. So
right. Well, I have one signed book. One of my friends knew I was in the comics, and he went on eBay and got a Todd McFarlane signed Amazing Spider-Man. I'm trying to think of which issue it was. It's basically him punching the Hulk in the crotch issue of Todd McFarlane.
That one when he comes up and he breaks the trade dress. I love that book. I think I have it right here almost.
He bought that one off of eBay, signed by Todd McFarlane. I have it in another box. So I thought about maybe sending that to, what is it, CGX?
CBCS.
They do the signature series, and so, but primarily to preserve the signature, because I've noticed that because it's in a bag, I took it out of the bag and some of the signature came off, and I'm like, ooh, I'm just gonna leave it there now. And that's been in there a long time. It's been in there a long time, and so I'm like, if I really want to preserve this, then I probably do need to get it cased if I want to preserve the signature.
For sure. What about you, Brandon? Any conventions?
Really just one. I mean, again, I'm middle of nowhere. So there's I have to drive significantly to hit any. And if they are happening, my wife's a wedding photographer. So she's working Saturdays and Sundays. So, and I'm with my girls. So, that can't happen. But my wife did bring me to New York Comic Con in 2014, which I can't believe is, 9 years ago?
Time, baby.
I know. And so to answer his question, yes, I went to one big con. I want to go to more. And I was trying to I had brought a Amazing Spider-Man 121, Death of Gwen Stacy. And I planned on getting Stan Lee to sign it and send it off. But he was not, his health at that point, even then, was starting to decline. So he was canceling a lot of shows, and it was a bummer. I submitted it anyways. And again, this was 9 years ago. I didn't have it cleaned or pressed. It looked beautiful. It got a 7.5. I since sold it when I got out of comics, but so that's my only convention I've been to. I will, once my kids get older, I'd love to meet up with fellow creators. If it's tough though. We got the international hookup right now, Canada or down in Alabama. I guess we're a straight line to each other.
Honestly, Brandon, we're not that far from each other. Truly, it's not like an easy down the road meetup, but
what are we talking? 3-4 hours?
I'm 45-minute drive from Buffalo.
Oh, so yeah, that would only be if I went to Buffalo and it'd be like a 4-hour drive for me.
Yeah. So I'm just that's how far I'm pretty close to the border. So yeah, anyways, just for future reference,
Yeah, you
But
got my wheels
you
turning.
never know. In terms of my conventions, I'm not a big convention guy yet. I've been to one convention, which was last year. I went to Fan Expo Toronto, which is the big convention in the city up here. And well, there's two, but Fan Expo was kind of the bigger one. And yeah, I gotta say I didn't love it. It was really packed. And yeah, I don't know. I the prices were crazy. I think I would love it more if I just had more of a free spirit to go there and wander around, or I turned it into a trip of some kind. But I just I just went there on a whim, and I thought it was just like a little bit too packed and hot, and not my favorite thing. I think from what I've seen from other bigger shows in the US, I think I might enjoy that one or those a little bit more. And I am kind of on the fence about maybe going to San Diego Comic-Con next year. Talk about
Really?
packed.
Be ready for that. Well, yeah, because even 9 years ago, when I went to New York Comic Con at the Javits Center, there was 150,000 people.
Wow.
Both days I went, and then we stayed. We got our money's worth. We were there for 8 hours each day on that concrete. We were destroyed by the end of it. We were very fortunate. We had friends in New York City, so we could just take a cab and stayed at their place, which took away the cost of having to rent someplace. But like you said, it's still expensive no matter what. But you should definitely go to you can get out to San Diego, man. It's like a bucket list thing, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yes.
thinking. So we'll see if I do it next year. I'm heavily considering it. But yeah, that's
I could buy a lot of X-Men comics too.
Well, the problem is, you buy a lot of stuff, and then I got to take it over the border, and I got to pay customs and duties on stuff. So it's not always you got to stay really long. Like you got to stay a good week plus, and then you can maximize how much you can bring over the border. Like I think it's like $800 if you stay a week. So,
Yeah.
but if I'm there for a weekend, then I'm gonna get dinged with duties. But I get dinged with those all the time because I'm ordering from Whatnot, or I'm ordering from Heritage or whatever. So.
Speaking of conventions, the convention I want to go to is when Ricky saves up that whole year and goes down there with that whole bunch of cash. I just want to walk around with him when he's toting around all that cash, and he can just, I think I want that. I think I want that. I want to be there when he's just throwing the money around.
Yeah.
Dubu knows what I'm talking about with the Fan Expo. Yeah, that was my experience too there. It was really expensive. I did buy some books, but it was more bin books and stuff like that. Nothing big off the wall.
Sometimes to fill those runs though, and just
ones
you wanted to read. We all love to go to shows and get a big book, or think we go to shows. Like I don't go to them. I watch everyone else do it. My big books come up online.
What I did love, and I mean that's the beauty of going to a shop or anything, but what I did love was I could get run fillers at a nice condition, right? There's just a lot to look for and a lot of options, and so I was able to pick out some X-Men that were like really nice condition, whereas sometimes you're buying online, it's not always the easiest thing to see the condition, and you get a little surprised when it comes. But yeah, so that was the plus side to the convention, was the amount of bin books and boxes you could go through, and you could be a little bit more picky about which ones you pick up and stuff like that. So
I guess you answered Alex, the comic hoarder's question about duties back and forth across, make you pay duties coming across the border.
Yeah, if I buy if I buy down south, I have to pay duties unless it's under my allowed limit, right? So it all depends on how long I stay. That's what I've been thinking about, because I want to buy a GSX-1. It's like my Grail book, and it's my one of my goal books of the year. But I'd like to buy it local so that I don't end up getting nailed, because it's such an expensive book, right?
Right.
And I haven't really run into a price that I've liked yet. And I haven't also been ready to pull the trigger either, so that's part of it too. So
I love the fact that I'm still working on my 2022 goals. I'm still working on those. I've got one more off of that goal, which will be Fantastic Four number 52. That's the next big one on my list. But that's still a 2022 goal. I've just moved it to 2023. Maybe by the end of 2023.
Which book is that, Akins?
Fantastic Four number 52. First appearance of Black Panther. That was, it's funny. I put 6 in 2022. I put 6 as my screensaver on my computer to remind myself, stay focused on these 6 books, and Fantastic Four number 52 is the last one on that list. But they were all kind of big books. I mean, it was Iron Man #1, those kind of things. So it wasn't like it was a tiny, small list. Although I put some on there that I didn't think would be as much, like what was it? X-Men 108, I think. What's the first appearance of the Starjammers and Gladiator? I'm trying to.
I'm
think.
terrible with comic numbers. Like, it's always been
comic numbers too. Sometimes
it's definitely in the early. It's right around there. That first appearance.
Yeah, I know it's in the 10 somethings like that, because 109 is first appearance of Vindicator. So it's it's below that somewhere in there. But I had that one on there. I got that one. That cost me about $100. So I've gotten all those except Fantastic Four number 52. And then you got to make the decision on what grade do you want. Do you want to just be in the club, or do you want something, kind of mid-grade that presents really nice? I'm usually going for something that presents very nice. I'm not really worried about what they're telling me the grade is. If I'm looking at it and going, "Ooh, I like the way this looks," then I'm willing to pay for the looks of it and the way it presents, more so than what the grade is. Because if I can get a 2.0 that looks like a 6.0, then I'm picking up that 2.0 if it's looking like a 6.0.
Of course. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, it depends on, like, if it's a newer book, I like to try and get it higher grade, and if it's in the Silver Age, I tend to be less picky, and it's more about, does it look good? Obviously, a higher grade is always nice, but yeah, it's always presenting is my top concern.
Yes. So, like my Iron Man, I think I settled on a 5.0. And this last Grail I picked up, I ended up going with a 5.0. And that's what Alex, the comic order, is asking. He's asking, hey, what is your acceptable grade for your big books? For me, Golden Age is 3 to 4. Silver Age, I like to get a 6.0 if I can. Yeah, I'm usually going around a 5.0. I haven't gone below a 5.0. If I've got something that's graded that's below a 5.0, I probably got it raw and sent it in, and that's what it came back as. Like that Fantastic Four 50 I had that I bought at that last convention that I went to, and just because it was so cheap, because it was like $7, and then I was like, oh, it was Fantastic Four 50 for $7. I'll pick that up, and I sent it in. It ended up being a 3.5, and I'm like, this thing is not a 3.5. But then I looked at the back and I forgot there's a complete tear on the back that goes all the way across the back. And I'm like, well, okay. The front looks great. There's a tear on the back that you couldn't really see. So
yeah, I'm not a big Golden Age collector, so I don't really have a grade there. But yeah, for Silver, I mean, I don't have a specific grade. It also depends on, for me, like, what it is. Like, I'm trying to get the 1 to 300 X-Men run, and a lot of that goal is just get the books, right?
yes.
And then once I have 1 to 300, then I can work on upgrades. but I just really want that run. But then beyond X-Men, it's kind of more, if it's a key, I'm a little bit more forgiving of the grade than if it was just sort of a non-key book. Then I'd probably want it a little bit more high grade. But yeah, it kind of depends on the situation for me. And then but beyond that, I love getting higher, six and above, hopefully, and even probably 7 and above is what I like. Even though I have ones that are under that, but
I looked at some. I looked, because I've been doing this series where I show like a Golden Age comic, a Silver Age comic. The Golden Age comics are always reprints because I don't have any Golden Age. But then I started looking on Heritage and eBay, watching what some of these things do, and most of the time, my experience, which is very limited now with Golden Age stuff, they don't come up very often. And when they come up, everybody's in a bidding war on that one. And even raw ones. I've looked at some raw ones and that have no key significance whatsoever. And people will pump those things up because you don't see one come up very often because there's only 80 on the entire census at all, and there's somebody just looking one just to grade, just to get it graded and then probably flip it more than likely.
Yeah, they're definitely the rarest ones. That's why they're so collectible. I only have one. I have that one I got in my recent CGC submission, that Babe Ruth Sports book with the Toronto Maple Leafs goalie Turk Broda on the cover. That's my only Golden Age book.
I dipped my toes in the Golden Age with that one pre-code horror book I got, and then I realized I couldn't go down that path, and decided it was better off to have a Fantastic Four 49 to fit in my run, because if I kept going down Golden Age, that book was a lower end one, and I think they paid like $300 for that because it was graded out at a 5.5. And for Alex's question is, I've got 2 kids, 2 very young kids, 3 and under. I've got a mortgage. I've got bills. So for me to even be in this hobby and get these books, like you said, Ryan, to complete your run, like I'm going for the Fantastic Four Lee Kirby run. I got to take him whatever. I can't be picky. And also, I've talked with Akins before too. I feel a lot of it's about preservation. If I got a low grade, like I sent Jeff from Comic Spa, me and Mike's presser right now, I sent him a Daredevil number 3. It's probably only going to grade out at best 2.0, 2.5. But I also feel that these comics are going to keep getting soaked up, right? So like Alex is saying, he won't buy below a 7.0, or you guys won't go below 6.0. Those are all going to get gobbled up. And then over time, as these become even more rare, because already, Golden Age is 60, 70 years old, and Silver is, 50 years old. And, it's like, it's going to get gobbled up to the point of where, what's going to be left, my kids could care less about my comics too, Alex. They're just eating me out of house and home. That's my problem. Actually, I can't let them near the comics. So yeah, that's where I'm at with the grading, is like, I got to take it where I can. If I could afford a really nice one and I have like extra money, sure. Yeah, absolutely. But
I think what you're saying is mine's really a cost. I've got really a barrier that I can only spend this much. And if that much will get me a 9.8, then, I'm going to get a 9.8. But if that thing will only get me a 5, then I'm getting a 5. It's something I really want. But if that is only getting me a 2, I'm going to have to settle for a 2, because I've got that threshold of what I can spend on a comic to get what I want. So,
well, that's when now, the saving and the holding back from buying comes into play, right? If you want that certain book,
good luck.
Maybe I can't buy all these other books I'm buying, and the problem is, if you're addicted like me, you keep buying books.
I took a 2-week hiatus on Whatnot to get the 2 books I got, so that I did not like
2
a
weeks
lot of
is
Whatnot.
tough, man. 2 weeks is tough.
That's my way to get my mail call stuff. It's easy, and usually I can go in and buy it now, or I have my go-to sellers. I watch their shows. But these 2 of these books tonight, I 2 weeks is what I was able to go, Ryan. and really focus and be like, I want those 2 books more than they're foundational comics, if you will, Alex.
Yeah, foundational comics, Alex. Foundational comics.
I love that term. God, ever since I heard it, I was like, that makes so much just sense. Like,
it's a great term. I like it too.
Yeah, to get that Iron Man #1, I basically went to my LCS. I said, stop everything, all my pulls except Iron Man. And I think I didn't buy anything for 3 months. I said, I'm not buying anything. And the only thing I was buying was Iron Man. That was it. I'd buy, whenever it came out, and then saved up all that money to get, like you said, to get what you want.
I don't think I bought anything this week. So I'm on a week, but there's always tonight on Whatnot.
So you haven't bought anything? No new comics this week?
Well, I got a book in the mail today, which I'm actually going to be showing in a little bit, which was a big book. So I got the feeling of getting a book this week. I just didn't buy anything this week.
I get those feelings all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So speaking of books, maybe we should get into showing some. Who would like to start? I'll go last, or we can maybe go no, let's just go one at a time.
Brandon is like, I could see it on his face. He's like, he's so ready to show these books.
I want to savor it. You go first, Mr. Aiken. Go ahead.
So what, are we showing what we've picked up recently? Something that means
the story one. So the ask was,
okay,
3 books that you have that have a personal story or an interesting story or a funny story, something just with a story other than the story that's in the books to you, right?
So you said that, and I started looking through my stuff, and I was like, what comic book did I buy first that first introduced me to certain artists? Like John Byrne. I'm a big fan of John Byrne. So I was going through my comics, and I'm like, okay, what was the actual first comic I picked up that had John Byrne art on it? And so if you go through my collection, I still have like stickers where I could tell that this was a back issue. I didn't buy this off the rack. I bought this one as a back issue because it's still got the sticker of how much it costs. So I was going through my back issues, and this was the first John Byrne comic I picked up. Fantastic.
Such a great cover.
240. Cool. Yeah. And after I was looking at it, I was going, I remember picking this up. I remember picking this up at the store was called a Pick and Pay. Is what it was called. And I remember picking this one up. And so this was the first time I saw any John Byrne art, was this one right here. And I was hooked after that. I could tell that it was this obviously came out in the summer because I picked it up at Pick and Pay. And then I could tell after it, there was like 2 or 3 issues that were back issues because it's got the little sticker where I bought them as back issues. And after that, I could tell that I started picking it up on a regular basis. So first John Byrne art, that means something to me. I know on that one. Nice. And then the first comic book I ever saw that had George Perez art, which I'm a big fan of George Perez. This has got to be one of my favorite Avengers covers right here. I just love, to me, this makes up the Avengers lineup right here. This is when I think of the Avengers, I'm thinking of these characters right here. Of course, it's got spine ticks. It's been read 1,000 times. It's dog-eared there on the corner, but I don't care. It's been loved over and over and over again. So I really love, this is the first time I remember seeing George Perez art. So again, I was hooked on some George Perez art in this one. And another artist I really, really loved, and once this is the first time I saw any of his art, was Alex Ross. I remember for picking up this and just being blown away by Kingdom Come, the whole series.
Sweet.
And this is the first time I saw any Alex Ross art. So,
yeah, his work's exceptional.
It is.
I mean, yeah,
so,
definitely one of the greats of our time.
For sure.
So I went ahead and picked up the whole run. But yeah, when you started talking about, ooh, what can we pick up that's meaningful? I was like, maybe I can find the first John Byrne I picked up. Maybe I can find the first George Perez I picked up. Maybe I can find the first Alex Ross I picked up. And I like this one's actually this one was out. And this one would be featured on a video I think I've got coming up, or maybe a past video. Sometimes I forget. But I definitely remember picking this one up. This was the first Thor I paid for myself.
Oh, wow.
Just happens to be a key. And the reason I remember picking this one up, I remember it was over the summer. I was working at my dad's store, and every once in a while he would call down the street and order from this restaurant, and we'd go and pick it up. And on the way, there was a gas station. And of course, if I'm walking down there to pick up lunch, I'm going to go and see if they've got some comics. And I remember they had this one on the rack. So I picked this one up off the rack. So this is my first exposure to Walt Simonson art, which I like his art style as well. He's like George Perez or John Byrne or Alex Ross. I can be a room away and I can look and go, oh, that's Walter Simonson. Oh, that's John Byrne. He's got a distinctive style that I really like.
Right.
It's great.
Do you want me to keep going?
I mean, if you got more books, whatever.
I'll do one more. One more. This is the first time I saw any Bob Layton art, and I love Bob Layton on Iron Man. This is not the original one I picked up because I had a bad habit as a kid because I didn't have any action figures.
I remember you telling the story.
I would cut these out, these corner boxes out, and make basically paper dolls or paper action figures out of these things. And that's my fascination with these corner boxes is all the characters are a consistent size, and I would always cut those up.
That's awesome.
All right, Brandon, you're up.
Okay, so I brought three separate. The first showing is 2 books, and they're important to me because Ryan, when I bought that Fantastic Four, what was it, 59 from you? What was that Doom cover? Yep.
57.
57.
Yeah.
When I bought that from Ryan, he was kind enough to send as an extra giant size Man Thing. Number 1.
Everybody's favorite titled book.
Yeah, the best title ever in comics. Giant size Man Thing number 1. But this was Steve Gerber and Stan Lee wrote this together, and then the cover artist who I love for monster covers is Mike Plug. He did the Werewolf by Night Run and a lot of other monster stuff, but that really meant a lot to me. Like, Ryan was the first person I bought something from within our community, and he sent me something extra. And the other book in that same vein was I was trading with Mr. Akins, and I sent him some books, and then he was like, hey, I want to even out the trade a little. I'm like, no, man, like those were extra books. I just wanted you to have those. But he sent me some more X Factor books because I was collecting them. And then in the middle of those was Fear 11, Adventure into Fear 11. And that like blew my socks off. Like, this is Adventures into Fear 10 is when Man Thing gets his first solo story. But this book is like more pivotal in that Steve Gerber takes over his, monumental run in the storyline. Neil Adams did this cover art, which is just mind blowing. And then it's got, the first Nexus of Realities is in this one. The first Jennifer Kale, first appearance of Jennifer Kale. And then the tagline, whoever knows fear will burn at the touch of the Man Thing, debuts in this book. So, I mean, not only was this just a pivotal moment in the Man Thing universe, but Aiken sending me this, like you guys sending me, these are the first 2 things in the comic community on YouTube where people just like the kindness shows, like there's so many great people that do kind things. This was just a great A-OK act of kindness from 2 people that I've become friends with now. So that's my first, like, this counts as 1 because they're both Man Thing. And I had to shout you guys out.
Hey, man, there's no rules.
All right.
Counts as one. I'm gonna break the rules too.
And then, okay, so these next two books I have my eye on. There's a local auction company. Like I'm close to Utica, New York, which is about a half hour away from here. And there's some folks up there that do they come to the antique show that's near my town twice a year. I bought a good amount of action figures from this guy. But they did an auction this past weekend, and I really wanted this book. I wanted it for a while, and it didn't go crazy on it, and I was grateful. But it is Daredevil #4. It's first appearance of Purple Man, and I wanted this because I love obscure villains like Stilt Man and Purple Man and the Owl and Porcupine, and the Purple Man was just. And it's a Jack Kirby cover too. And, there's only, 6 issues of Daredevil in this outfit before this, I think, issue 70 switches over to the red that we all know. So now I've got issue 3, 4. I've thought about a side quest, Ryan, of trying to get, I don't know if I'll get one.
Side quest.
one is not actually an unobtainable big key, like you can get that in a lower grade and not break the bank. But I'm thinking about trying to get 1 through 10 because I do have 10 as well. So now I have 3, 4, 8, and 10. So it's not a horrible goal, but I've just always loved. I mean, Kirby makes characters jump off the cover, and I just wanted to, have another obscure villain in my collection. So I won this for a fair price, and I was pumped about that.
You got to pick up the first appearance of Paste Pot Pete.
Yes.
And an X-Men 2 for the Vanisher. And I'm sure we could go all night thinking of some obscure random villains.
Alex said Purple Man and Jessica Jones Netflix was a great villain. That was played by the guy who did Doctor Who.
Oh, fantastic. That's right.
He was fantastic. Comic Journey. I got to whip out my man thing all the time. Okay, last book. You guys know I'm going on my Fantastic Four run. Like I'm trying it. I picked up my first single digit Fantastic Four book. And I had to get it in low grade, and I think I paid a good price, like just a little below fair market value, but it is Fantastic Four #8.
Nice.
First Puppet Master, first Alicia Masters.
Awesome.
And it's only a 2.0, but I own it now.
It presents very well.
I thought so for 2.0. When I looked at it, Mr. Akins, and I was like, the cover's all there. There's no tears. I think they got dinged for a lot of this. There's a lot of staining on the back and such.
Right.
And probably the pages within, but there's no big tears on the cover. Yeah, the spine's beat up. But I'm when I'm picking up keys like this, as long as the cover presents like you said, I'm good with it, And so this was a huge to scratch a single digit issue off my Fantastic Four run, and this is my 40th book I picked up in the run.
Wow.
So I need to do
those single. Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say those single digits of any of those early Marvel runs are always they're the hard ones, man. But that's a beautiful book, and I love those early FS because of it's like before Marvel, right? Like they don't have that classic Silver Age Marvel trade dress and corner box and everything, right? Like that harkens back to that first Fantastic Four, which really kicked it all off for Marvel.
Yeah, no. So I've always loved this cover. I've always thought it was just the Puppet Masters we are looking up there, and I was like, okay, I might as well get a single. I got to take a family picture. I took one last weekend on my table, but I had to get so high up. I'm going to need to put a blanket down on the ground. But when I had them all laid out to see what I've amassed already was like, wow. Even if I slow down, this is still a great looking run. So
great progress. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. So those are my.
Did you get that graded yourself?
No, I got this off Instagram.
Oh, okay.
N. Wilson Comics, I believe his name is. I'm going to do a video about this, but very, very affordable slabs. I thought this was very, very fairly priced. I picked up, Akins loves this one, this Silver Surfer one shot. The
Cool.
Silver Surfer one shot. I think this was $40 plus shipping.
It's less than case cost.
I mean, yeah, like that's less than, yeah. So I was like, I've always loved that cover. I was like, so he has really good, like, he'll do a great sales post of like, he'll just have his slab box and he'll have a sticky note up here with the price. And he'll literally just pull them up and you can see the cover and the grade and the price. And then he'll go down, pull another one up. And then, you know, you can keep watching his videos and then message him about what you want. And then if something doesn't sell at the end, he'll put up like a big post with like what's left, you know, but very, very affordable prices for slab. Like Aiken said, I was like, that's almost the cost to slab it. And I think it's the cost to slab it and ship it back. So like, and it's a 9.0. So I kind of got a no brainer.
Yeah, I asked because I was wondering maybe if it was a candidate for your FF, if it was a candidate to be cracked and pressed and cleaned and stuff for.
I don't think there's helping this guy.
No,
Huge color breaking crease on the front. I mean, there's probably could be some stuff cleaned up. It's very brittle. The Daredevil 4, I'm going to have pressed and cleaned. There was water damage, but the pages are still supple. So I am going to have this pressed, cleaned, and graded. Again, preservation of an early Silver Age book. And they display well. I've loved Daredevil. I like the Daredevil movie from when was it, the 90s or 2000 with Affleck? I don't care. I liked it.
Do you like the director's cut more than the regular? Have you seen the director's cut of that?
I don't think I have, Mr. Akins.
If you like the normal movie, I think you'll absolutely love the director's cut. I think the director's cut fills in a lot of gaps in the movie, and some of the things that happened in the movie, you're like, when you're watching the theatrical release, you're like, okay. But then when you watch the director's cut, it fills in, oh, okay, I think you'll like it even more. So watch the director's cut.
I will. I absolutely will. I thought Affleck did a great job as Daredevil, and Colin, what is it? Colin Farrell, is that his name? As Bullseye.
Yeah, that's Bullseye.
And so those are my books. Those were. I was really excited. You guys, I'll make videos about them. You guys are the first to see them. So.
Okay, so I'll get into my books. So I've kind of mentioned this in previous videos, but when I was, in my early preteens, so I know the exact day. It was April 1997. The reason I know the date is that when I was looking for books to show today, I went back into my old books, and there was a period of time I didn't really collect as a kid, but I did have this like 6-month window in 1997 where I got really into it, and I was buying books at 7-Eleven off the rack, Mr. Aiken style. But I started on April 97, and I got this book, Venom on Trial, which is part of a 3-book series. Cool story. Matt Murdock is Venom's lawyer, and it's been a long time since I read it, so I don't even remember.
That's awesome.
All the details, but essentially Venom's on trial. Matt Murdock's defending him. Spider-Man's involved. Carnage is in there. But I started April 97, so I missed issue 1. This is issue 2. And then in May, I got Venom on Trial number 3. So then fast forward to 2022, I finally get back into comic books, and I complete the 3-part set with Venom on Trial number 1. So this is just kind of a nostalgia story behind these 3 books. It took decades to finally complete this trilogy of books. So
that's awesome.
Kind of a cool story there. Then my next book is X-Men 129.
Yeah.
The first appearance of Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost, White Queen, and Sebastian Shaw. So I bought, this is actually the first slab I bought last year when I got back into comics. It's the first Colossus book. I picked up as well. So this has a special place in my heart. I spent way too much money on this. It was very, very expensive. I was very, very green to comic prices, and yeah, I kind of got a little bit ripped. But I love this book. I love it. I love that it's like a really significant X-Men key. It's what got me started on my 1 to 300 journey, and yeah, really, really love that book.
It's what I think of when I see that book. I think of your channel.
Yeah,
It's a good representation of my channel. It's definitely one of the bigger Colossus, although Colossus isn't, it's not his first appearance or anything, but it's one of the bigger X-Men keys with him on the cover. And yeah, and then yeah, like I said, one of my early books. And then this last book, I just received today. I alluded to it earlier. I bought it on Heritage, and it's X-Men number 5.
Wow.
The second appearance of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. I've always loved this cover ever since I first saw it, and I got it for a good price on an auction a few weeks back. It came really fast. I was surprised that it actually got here in time for tonight, and I was like, "Oh, I got to put that in here." This is now actually the oldest X-Men book I have, because I have an X-Men 6, and now I have an X-Men 5. So this is my earliest X-Men book, and really thrilled to have it. It presents really well. It was graded by Heritage as a VG plus, so 4.5. But given what happened on my last,
I was gonna say
it might go up. if I do decide to grade, I don't know if I'm gonna grade it or not. Although it's a pretty big key. So, yeah, really, really pumped to have that one, and it looks really great. So those are my books for tonight.
Was that did you buy from Heritage for the book that they quoted you as higher, but it wasn't?
No. Well, there were a few books that in that last submission, there were a few books that came back as a nice surprise, and then a few that didn't. Few that got worse than what I thought they were. But I did buy. Yeah, so the last time I bought from Heritage, I bought the Juggernaut, first appearance of Juggernaut, the X-Men 12, and that came back a 4.5, and I bought it at a 2.5.
That's great. I loved your outtakes in the shorts when you were like, you're just like, oh, that's a good surprise. Oh, that's
I like
good.
that short. That was one of my favorite shorts I've ever made. I had a lot of good like reactions to that. And
that was fantastic.
And then I bought my Submariner 1 at a 7.0 off Heritage, and that came back a 7.5. So I don't know if it's Heritage is grading harshly, but and then they, especially that Juggernaut, ended up being I paid very good money for that. So
it's a big difference when you jump from 2.5 to 4.5 too with that book. Huge.
$300-$400, something like that. I don't know what it is exactly off the top of my head, but it was a pretty significant jump. Yeah, the only thing with Heritage, you just got to watch that. You got to watch that buyer's premium.
Yes.
You know, if you're uneducated on that particular platform, you could get yourself in a little bit of hot water on that. So,
no, I never bought on that.
I've never bought on Heritage either, but I've heard other YouTubers talk about the
What's the percentage they take for buyer's
it's like 13%, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's not that they what they do is so you pay your auction price and then they add 13%.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you're paying a decent amount, especially the higher the book price goes, right? So
yeah,
if you're buying like a $1,000-$2,000 book, that BP is going up.
Yes.
But it's also a great place. Like, sometimes it's not hopping, or a books that you like isn't necessarily getting a lot of bids or whatever, and sometimes you can really catch some deals on there. It's just a matter of good timing and knowing the value of the book, and yeah.
That's all I need is another outlet to be ordering from. You degenerates.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, no, it's definitely, it's a good place to buy bigger books. Like, I mean, I've never really bought anything sort of on the small scale there, maybe one thing, but yeah, it's a good place to try and find good deals for big books.
All right, that's something to think about for sure.
And then Heritage has a comic book sale every Sunday and Monday night. So they have other events and stuff, but like if you're looking for Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze, it's usually Sundays and Monday nights. That's their kind of weekly thing.
Right. So Ryan just got through. It took you, say, 97. It took you what, 26 years to finish your
Something like that. I'm terrible at math.
trial.
Don't make me do math on the spot. Then I'll start like having to let me get my calculator.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I just finished a something. It took me 38 years to finish a run of something. So I was I bought this one off the rack. This is when I got into DC. One of my friends, what he would do is he would buy DC, I would buy Marvel, and we would just switch off. Well, when this was coming around, I couldn't wait for the next issue. I said, I'm just going to start buying this because I want to know what's going on. But this was the first one I bought. I didn't have any of the other ones before it. I had read them, but I didn't have any of them. Well, it took me 38 years. This week, I finally went down and got the rest of them.
Picked up the whole set. Nice.
Yeah, and finished my run from, it was 1 to 6 or 1 to 1 to 6. I went down and got 1 to 6 to finish my run. And in fact, that's what I've been reading. I finished reading those last night, and I was going to read these tonight in bed to try to catch up on my crisis. But it's funny
Beautiful.
that you said, oh, it took me, it was 1997 and it took me, 26 years. It took me 38 years to finish that run off.
Sometimes good things got to take their time, right? So
Exactly.
What are you reading these days, Brandon?
When if I get up before the kids on Saturday or Sunday, I'll grab my coffee and I'm going through my Man-Thing run, like the Adventure into Fear stuff, the Aikens, the one he sent me. I just picked up another one that it's gonna drop in my video tomorrow. I'll also link this live stream in my video tomorrow because I talk about, it's the future tomorrow. So I was like, oh, I did a live stream with Aikens and Colossus Collector last night. So mostly Man-Thing and the Werewolf by Night that I've traded. Mr. Aikens got me a good amount of those. So that's what I've been trying to read. I get up at 4 a.m. for work every day to be to work by 5. And the weekends, if my kids don't get up till 6:30, that's sleeping in. But I'm thinking about setting an alarm for like 5:45 because I'd still be getting an hour and 45 minutes more than what I'm used to. But if I could catch, 20, 25 minutes to read some books, because I used to read at night, but now that's gone. If I'm doing anything at night, it's filming a video or editing a video or a live stream or trying to catch up on people's content while I'm lying in bed. So I got to find better time to read. But yeah, mostly Man-Thing and Werewolf. Nice.
Yeah, I'm the same. Well, I'm not the same in the sense that I have kids, but I find I struggle to make the time to read. I'm trying to get through the Fall of the Mutants prologue omnibus right now, and I've been on this thing for like 3-4 months, and it's the smallest omnibus I have. It's one of the shortest X-Men ones I have, and it's taking me the longest to get through this stupid thing. and then I got to do Inferno, which is like massive, and I'm dying to get through these because I want to get to the 90s X-Men. Like I've been dying to get to the 90s X-Men, but I'm going too slow. So I tend to try to read before bed, but sometimes I stay up too late watching content or doing something else, and then it's like I look at the clock, it's like, oh, it's 1 a.m. I got to go to bed, and there's no reading time, or I'm just too tired to read. Like I would read in bed, but like I get through a page or two and I start drifting off. So
That's what's putting you to sleep. You're reading and it's putting you to sleep.
exactly, right. So I gotta try to carve out an earlier bedtime so that I go to bed and read in bed for like an hour, hour and a half, and then fall asleep. But
I'm also trying to hang out with my wife. Like when the kids go down, it's
yeah,
7.
of course,
We're pretty scheduled. So it's like, I want to hang out with my wife and talk about our days. But also like she's very supportive of what I'm, of what I'm trying to do and having fun with. She knows it's my midlife crisis. She said she'd rather have it be this healthy.
Well,
like I'm inside the house. I'm here. I'm not like
as
in a
far as
bar on a
midlife crises
motorcycle.
go, you're doing okay. At least you're not buying a sports car and like driving off to some
Or a
unknown
motorcycle.
location.
Yeah, those things are going to depreciate in value. At least what you've got is going to appreciate in value.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a good long-term investment.
for my girls someday, that's a big thing is to leave to my kids. So, someday hopefully when they sell it or whatever, they take it to somebody who knows comics and they're like, wow, your dad had good taste. Like he collected what he loved, but what he loved was important historically in comic books and, or maybe they'll just read them and have a fire with them. I don't know. Whatever they want to do. I'm enjoying them right now. What do you do for work, Ryan? Let me ask you.
I work in graphic design and
I
advertising.
knew it. That's how you do those videos.
Yeah, I have a certain set of skills that I can bring to the YouTube space and the Instagram.
I don't feel
space
so bad anymore.
That gives me a slight edge when it comes to like visual
You
arts
think?
and stuff. Yeah, so
You
that's
think?
my secret identity, guys. You pulled it out of me. I knew at some point someone was going to ask, and yeah. So I don't like. So I mainly deal with like non-motion kind of stuff. So like designing a logo or a print ad or whatever, right? And most of my editing stuff I've kind of just taught myself through other projects like before all this stuff. So I had some knowledge of like Adobe Premiere and just and then like things like we were talking about that that AI video, like when I did the whole like matrix agent shifting, like I literally just searched YouTube for like how do I do a cool like weird effect thing or like a glitch effect, and I taught myself how to do it. And the one thing I find too, even with the stuff I do for my career, is like I'll teach myself how to do this thing on one of these Adobe programs, and I do it, and then I forget how to do it. So the next time I want to do it, I'll have to relearn it all over again. Like I'd have to do it so many times that it becomes like muscle memory. So luckily I got the editing stuff down. I know how to like simply edit, but then when like I want to do like a cool effect or a cool transition, I usually have to look it up on YouTube. And
that remembering thing for me was audio, like remembering how to, take like if I'm hunting or somewhere, and I'm just putting like copyright free music.
I do that
like
too.
Pulling the thing down, like how did I add this audio? How did I get this back in here? Putting on shorts is easy, you search your favorite music and
yeah,
just throw it on there. But yeah, like I have to do the same thing, Ryan. I'm like, oh, I just did this, but I got to reteach myself. But again, I am not. God, I feel so much better now about myself after hearing that.
So
this makes so much more sense now.
It's a blessing and a curse though, because I know how to do stuff, I want to do it, but it's time consuming, right? So like I shoot a video, I edit the video, I make the thumbnail, all that stuff takes like, I don't know, like 3 to 4 hours of video, right? And it's just like, I don't know, like for me, that's why I end up not putting out as much content, because it's just like, oh, I got to carve out time to do it, and like
Yeah, I was wondering how you're doing that.
after a long day, like I don't necessarily feel like doing more work that's very related to what I've already
Yes.
been doing all day. So yeah, it's a little bit of a battle sometimes, but I do enjoy it. It's just I don't always feel like doing it, right? So
Well, you made
Well, it's
Brandon
not.
feel better that his thumbnails aren't up to the snuff of your thumbnails. Because I'm sitting there, like you said, that was one of the first things that's so striking. I'm looking at your thumbnails and I'm like, ooh, I want to click on that. And mine are so, I've kind of gotten to where they're basic, but that's kind of my style. I don't want to change what I'm doing to where it's just a block and you can read what it says very well. But I noticed yours, you can still read what it says even though it's busy and it's flashy and it's there, but I can still read what your video is about, and it makes me want to click it. So yeah, I was wondering, I was like, man, he's just got these thumbnails down. They're just so beautiful. I just love them.
yeah, I appreciate that. A lot of it's taking from kind of YouTube styles that I've seen that are good, but also I like kind of establishing like a look, and then like just that's your brand type of thing, right? It's all part of what I do.
That's the reason I didn't try to make mine more flashier, even though it was kind of basic and I was just using what I had and what I could do. I'm like, hey, I've kind of got a style here so that when somebody goes to my channel, they can look and it's all kind of the same style going, no matter what kind of video I'm going to do. The only thing I have to do is change the color, change a little bit of the picture there, but it still all fits together. It's not a nice consistency.
It's true, like I immediately spot your stuff, and I immediately want to watch your stuff, because like, oh, there it is, boom, right? So it is good to have a kind of a look, no matter what it is, that people spot it and they recognize it. For the only thing I sometimes mix up your stuff with Bigby, because Bigby's done some of the same. You picked up his
Well, I'll
shout
do
out
that
thing.
for a shout out.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
what I
yeah,
was
yeah.
doing, because I thought when I first did those, for some reason, I was so YouTube educated. I thought somehow I knew that he was going to put those in a playlist. And I knew I wanted my stuff to be consistent. And I was like,
Okay.
why don't I just copy his style when I do a shout out video? Because I know it's going to be in his playlist. So you just go down the list and stuff. So yeah, that's the only time mine changes. I basically kind of, and I don't even use any type of photo editor. I just take things from Word and then I'm just breaking stuff down to make it look like his thing. But I wanted to be consistent to go, oh, this is a shout out video. Like you
Yeah.
said,
Well,
it's
I
one of
know it's a
his.
shout out when I see it. That's for sure.
Exactly.
That my thumbnail for my first live stream last week was the first one I've ever made on Canva. My wife makes them because she's a millennial. So she takes my picture and I tell her what I want, and because she can, she's so much. I grew up with the birth of the internet.
Yeah.
I'm not tech savvy. I've had no jobs that required me to be tech savvy. So for her to take my picture and go, okay, what do you want to say? But ding done. Whereas like I'm over analyzing and I'm like, oh, I need this to be perfect. So that last one I made, yeah, and I learned a lot in that. And now I'll go back and be able to make them. But she's also a photographer, so she wants to be involved to take pictures for me and stuff. So
That's good. That's nice. It's one less thing to like have to handle yourself too, right? So
yeah, dude, like you said, it's not just sitting down and filming. It's have you researched the pertinent information you want to talk about, or why you love that book, and then the editing, and then the thumbnail, and then scheduling it to upload. I've got to do my thumbnail for tomorrow's video and schedule the upload to get off with you guys, because that's just
Another reason I like to keep mine consistent is I've got a template, and now I just dump stuff into the template, and there it cuts down on like you said, the amount of time me thinking up something new for a thumbnail. I've just got my template and I just take a picture of me doing something and then just dump it into, maybe change the color. If we're talking about pink covers, then I just change the color to pink, that kind of thing. And like you said, it cuts down on the amount of time. And like Ryan was saying, I've kind of got a brand going and people can recognize, oh, there's one of Mr. Akins' videos, and you can click on it real quick. So Yeah, you may think of getting a style down, then you've got a template, and you can just quickly dump it into that old template that you've got.
Yeah, I even have with mine a bit of a template too. I still have to like take the picture and like clip myself out. That's the time consuming stuff. But when it comes to like dropping it into the file and like the Photoshop file, like I just reuse another one, and I have the shadow effect and all this stuff, and then like with the title or whatever, I do the title from scratch, but like I can like do a little bit of copying and pasting from other things too, so it is a little bit streamlined, and I've done them so many of them now that I have it like I can really whip them out pretty quick.
Right.
It's more the editing and the shooting the video that takes time, because you as you all know, like when you're doing a video, there's so many bloopers. Like at some point I gotta do a blooper video of just like all my just damn, like,
Dude, I think about you guys too when I do. I'm like, I wonder how many other people like Akins or Closets or Mike or Bigby deal with that when you're like, so this week son of a
Yeah.
oh my god, I
And then
do
you
that
compose-
so many times.
and you compose
What's
yourself.
the
And you're like,
conference? Just
okay,
over
so
and over.
this week, yeah, I got to make that.
So-
We should all make blooper clips and share them on a show some night together for sure.
I find that if I don't show my face, I can talk better than, because the video is right down there, and I have this bad habit of looking down there because the camera's up here and it's going to my computer, and so I'll start off with me there, but then I'm sitting there thinking also, do they really want to see me, or they really want to see these books? So I'm trying to make the book the focus, and so I'm standing behind the camera. That way I don't feel as nervous when I'm talking about the book that's there. Then I'm just kind of just looking at the book. I'm not looking at what I look like on screen. I'm like, oh, well, here's the book. And then I just start talking about the book.
I'll tell you, you've got your pacing down so well. Probably comes from being a teacher, but how you talk at the same pace and describe, like I'm hanging on every word because it's just so clear and articulated and soothing. So like that's what I love about your videos too, Mr. Akins, is like you really draw me in with that. And
Good.
I'm like Akins has this down. Like he's,
One thing I see, he was talking about what he did before. I had another YouTube channel, but
I remember you saying that, yeah.
And I learned a lot of the editing stuff. So yes, I will fumble in there, but you don't know it because I'm editing out pauses. And so it looks like it's so smooth. And I also have a habit of smacking my lips. I'm
Me
able
too.
to get those little smacks out of me smacking my lips and all that. So I learned that by having my first YouTube channel and me filming me doing math problems, and talking about the math problems. So I had a little bit of practice before then. And like you said, that's what my job is, to kind of explain stuff and dispense information. But yeah, some of those pauses and some of those ums and smacking my lips, I'm editing all that stuff out. So it doesn't sound like, it sounds like, man, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's just, it's all editing. It's all magic.
Well, you're doing a hell of a job at it.
All our channels are they all have their nice unique attributes, and that's what's great about YouTube, is gives you more things to watch and different things to watch, and everybody's got a different take on stuff.
We're trying, right?
We're trying.
Well, like I told somebody else, I'm going to do this as long as I'm having fun. The moment I'm not having fun doing this, then I'm not going to be doing it anymore. But this is fun. I enjoy making the videos. I enjoy these lives, talking with people, because I don't know about y'all, but I don't have that many people to talk about comics with. And so this is my chance I get to talk about all this huge collection I've got and all this new stuff that I'm getting. Ooh, look what I got. It's almost like it's I watch other people's stuff, and I've said this before. It's one giant commercial. People put stuff up there. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, let me write that one down. I'm gonna see if I can find that one somewhere. See if I can go to my LCS and pick that one up. So it's like one giant commercial. I see other people's stuff and I get jealous of what they have, and I'm like, I need me one of those. I'm gonna get me one of those.
Window shopping, man. It's window shopping.
Exactly.
Yeah, this has become the highlight for me. Like I wanted to talk about my collection because I have no one around me that really, talks comics with me. My wife's can only take enough. It's so much, you know. But this has become the highlight. Is now I've networked, I've made connections with people like you and other people, and like there's always now a stream going on somewhere. Like I hope you two are willing to come on this at the end of this month. I wanted you two on there for my stream for the Big Five Live, and you know. But yeah, I mean, this has become the highlight. It's like, you know, like I can go back and watch these and be like, wow, that was a really, you know, and like someday my girls will watch them, you know, and it's a video archive too, right? Of all the stuff.
I think you're right about that. It's almost like a video diary too, that you can go back and you remember when you did that, you know, because a lot of my stories are, hey, I picked this up because I was working at my dad's store, you know, those kind of memories. And right now your kids may not be interested in all your dumb stories, but later on they'll go, and hopefully that this platform will still be there and they can go to it and they go, hey, we can watch Dad if you want to, you know.
They better not take away this platform. We've all worked so freaking hard, and there's YouTubers out there that have done more work than us, you know. Like,
well, that was the whole reason I started doing this with my other channel. It's because I was in education and they would start a platform and I would store videos and store information on that platform. Well, then they would run out of money, or they would go, this is the new platform we're using. And I'd store all my stuff. They would get rid of that one. This is the new one. And I'm like, I'm going to store my stuff on something that's not connected with y'all, and I can get to whenever I want to. And that's the reason I started putting my math videos on YouTube and starting this. And then I was like, hey, there's all other kinds of stuff on YouTube. There's cooking, there's, you know, there's, you know, comics, there's all kinds of things. So I was like, ooh,
anything. Literally anything.
Anything. I always go to YouTube to figure out something.
Yeah. Oh, the do-it-yourself. Yeah. Like if there's like a lot of my kids' stuff, like cribs and stuff, or bikes, right? I mean, you know, like there is no instructions manual anymore. Someone on YouTube will say, "Okay, dummy, this is how you're going to get this done within 3 hours." You know. So, no, you're right, Mr. Akins. That's correct.
So we're coming up on 2 hours, or no, an hour and a half. Before we wrap things up, I just wanted to give you guys a chance to maybe, I know we've been talking about our channels a lot, but just want to let you guys preview anything you got coming up, you know, where to find you, what to look out for.
What's on the comic rack right there? Let's see. Ooh, it's right there. I do a little bit of stuff on Instagram. What have I got coming up? I've been trying to do the Big B McFly thing of doing a short a day. I've got all the shorts for next week already scheduled. I'm trying
overachiever.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, that's me being a teacher. I got it all written on a piece of paper, and I'm like, oh, this one, this day. And I try to do 2 videos a week. I know that in the future, next summer, I'm going to have an extended vacation. So I'm trying to put some things in the can so that when that comes up, I'll still have some stuff to put out, because I may be gone like an entire month. And so might not be putting any content out for a month. So I've kind of put some stuff to the side. Every week I try to do the ages video, show a golden age, a silver age, a bronze age, a copper age.
Love those.
Talk about those, talk about the differences in the styles. And, you know, if I come to one that I actually got off the rack, I'll give a little bit of story about it. That way it also helps me learn about some golden age comics, things that I didn't know about, you know, because that seems to be where my lack of knowledge is golden age and really modern age. If you really want to know the truth, I know a pretty good bit about silver age because that's what I collect really. I grew up in the bronze and copper age, so I've got most of that stuff. But it's the modern age stuff past 2000 that when I really wasn't collecting that I don't know about. So I've got those. I try to do that once a week. I try to do Alan, the Comic Collector Geeks Challenge. So once he comes out with that Friday, I'm almost chomping at the bit. I'm like, can you go ahead and tell me? So I can just go ahead and start looking and get that one ready to see whether or not. But I have actually done what I said in the videos, that I set a timer and I said, I've got an hour to get this done. If I don't find these things in an hour, like you know, we got all under time crunch. If I can't find it in an hour, I'm like, okay, Alan, you won. I didn't, you know, I'm going to go one of these other videos I've got in the can for that week. So I try to do that. I'm trying to think of whether or not I should put those out on a consistent day. Like when Alan puts it out on Friday, maybe I need to do the video come out on a Monday and do my ages on a Thursday. So I want to put out more content, but I'm scared that something will come up and I'll be like, ooh, I don't have anything this week. So I've been holding back from doing 3 videos a week and just doing the 2. So 2 videos next week, shorts, and I've been toying around with what to do for live. And I may be doing some type of game. I saw that the game is really fun, and I kind of do that anyway at school. It's just me coming up with the game and make it to where not only the people that are here in the video can participate, but anybody that comes up may be able to still participate in this game that I got in my head. And it'll be almost like a trivia type thing where everybody can participate. And I know of a platform that we can all get on, and that way everybody participate in it. And so I've been kind of rolling around that in my head for something to do for a live that's different than what everybody else does. So that's what I got coming up. Brandon?
Lots jam-packed.
It's a tough act to follow.
Long story short, what's on the comic rack is killing it. So let's sub them up. Notice
Jesus, between what you got coming and your editing, I'm doomed.
No, you're doing good, buddy. Don't worry.
I think your M.O.N 5 is really, I'm really looking forward to the next time you do that, because I really enjoyed that one. So I'm like, I can't do something like he's doing, so I got to come up with something.
Thank you, Mr. Akins. That means a lot. You professional coming from you. To answer your question, you asked me, well, I have in my collection of books that I have a lot of 90s books and stuff that I use for that game, or that I would sell. Like I got in a bigger collection when I bought one, but I've got 140 books. 118 which are raw and 22 which are slabbed. That's what I've got in there. But those are all they're in my cover price. They're either great books or my most loved books. Some might be like a $2 Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, but then it goes all the way up to my my big keys. So that answers that question. But as far as my channel, I've got more shorts. Bigby and Akins and watching yours even, Ryan, got me to realize that can draw some people to your channel. And they're just fun to do, because again, you're pulling out your collection, you're looking through books of oh, how can these books fit together? What ties these together? So it makes you enjoy your books again. And I'm going to do another shout out video. I'm trying to do 1 shout out video a month for Bigby as we get towards November when he's going to do the huge giveaway. I'm really interested to see that movement has become pretty big, as far as how many views and what it's done to help everyone all together, and he's given away, and I've got some stuff to send to him that he's going to give away. So I'll do that. My regular mail call videos, an antique show is coming up, the one of 2 a year in a town 8 minutes away, and I know there's going to be comics there. So my wife, I took a whole day off. And my wife is going to go, Miss M.O.N Comics is going to go hunting with me. We're going to get over there. She's like, what time do you want to get over there? I'm like, I don't know, by 8. She's like, by 8? And I'm like, Hannah, early bird gets the worm. Plus, our kids go down for their nap, our older one at noon. So if we're going to get over there, there's literally thousands of dealers. So if I'm going to get over there and really try to cover as much ground as possible, I'm 3 hours is not that much time if we're going to get back to put our kid down, So I've got to really optimize it. So she's probably like, you walk too fast. But so that'll come up. I'll do that. And then the Big 5 Live, you guys hopefully will be able to come on this month. And I've got 2 other guests in mind. I've already reached out to one. That was a lot of fun to do. I'll try not to be so constrictive this time, Mr. Aiken. You're going to be under the gun. I'm going to hold you. It's going to be like a drill camp for you, man. So yeah, just the regular stuff. A lot of what you guys are doing, just having fun with it. Having fun. I guess that'll be my biggest thing.
Lots of fun over at M.O.N Comics, so make sure you guys sub them
M.O.N Comics, like Akins
right there. And then on my channel coming up, I mentioned it earlier. I've got a little 4-part video series that I will be covering the new Days of Future Past Doomsday miniseries, which is telling the story, the history, but that happens between the present day of Days of Future Past and that apocalyptic future that Kitty Pryde travels back in time from. So basically, how that all happened. It's a really cool series. First issue just came out, so I'm gonna go through that first issue. That'll be coming out soon. I also just recently acquired what you could sort of say is a grail. I'll leave it at that. I'm going to have a video covering a very awesome purchase, in my humble opinion, that I had. So that'll come out soon, and I'm working on a couple other things. Also, hopefully, going to have another X-Men Collectors Chat live stream with my buddy Dan, X-Men Comics, and maybe another guest if I can find another X-Men collector. So if you're an X-Men collector and you're watching this video, give me a shout out at Ryan or at Colossus Collector on Instagram, or just shoot me a comment on this video. And other than that, just moving along rest of the summer here, and yeah,
dude, reach out to Mike at Lunch Money. He's the X-Men guy.
He is. That's a good call. I feel like he's got so many requested stuff. I don't want to burn him out. Maybe save that in the future, but
he's the most. He's willing to help anyone out, man. Like he loves talking. That's why he did it too. Like he had no one to talk about. Like I think his summers are a little busier. He's been on vacations and stuff, but he's anyone who's asked him, man, he always tries to make it work. So much respect for that.
Yeah, shout out to Mike at Lunch Money Comics. And Mike, if you're watching, let's chat. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I had a really good time. We should do this semi often,
Give me 3 weeks, we'll do it again.
We're gonna do it. We'll be on M.O.N Comics later this month, so tune into that. And have a good weekend ahead and week ahead, guys, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks for hanging out, Obito.
Thanks to everybody in the chat. And everybody. See you guys.